Imagine a time when a simple accusation could condemn you to a fate worse than death. A world where pain wasn't just punishment, but a meticulously engineered path to so-called truth. What if I told you the instruments of agony were once considered essential tools of justice, revered as much as the law itself? For millennia, across nearly every civilization, a chilling practice has stained the annals of human history. Torture is a subject we often recoil from, a testament to humanity's darkest impulses. But this wasn't always an act hidden in the shadows. For vast stretches of time, it was an integral part of legal systems, a public spectacle, and a terrifyingly efficient instrument of power. Why did societies, some considered bastions of civilization, embrace such systematic brutality? And how, after centuries of its pervasive use, did the world finally begin to turn its back on this ultimate betrayal of human dignity? Our journey into the abyss begins in the ancient world. From the lashings of Mesopotamia to the crucifixions of Rome, physical torment was an undeniable part of maintaining social order and demonstrating authority. These early forms often served as public spectacles, brutal displays designed to deter crime and suppress rebellion. Yet, a subtle, more sinister evolution was taking hold. The idea that pain could be a pathway to truth. In ancient Greece, and especially the Roman Empire, torture began to be systematically employed to extract confessions or information, particularly from slaves or those deemed of lower social status. The logic was chillingly simple, yet profoundly flawed. Under duress, the truth would supposedly emerge unfiltered by deceit. But did it? Or did it merely produce what the tormentors wanted to hear, regardless of reality? How did this belief in the truth of torture lay the insidious groundwork for millennia of unspeakable cruelty and countless false accusations? Fast forward to the medieval era, and the use of torture took on a terrifyingly systematized, almost bureaucratic new dimension. The rise of the Inquisition in Europe saw torture become an institutionalized tool of the church and state. It was no longer just about extracting confessions for civil crimes, but about rooting out heresy, the perceived work of the devil himself. Devices like the rack, the strapetto, the pair of anguish, and the infamous water cure weren't simply crude instruments of pain. They were meticulously designed tools of psychological and physical warfare, crafted to break a person's will entirely. Confessions, often coerced under unimaginable agony, were considered divine proof, leading to condemnation and often execution. What kind of moral compass guided a society to believe that God's truth could only be found through such monstrous means? And what truly happened when these methods were applied to those with no heresy to confess, yet facing an impossible choice: confess falsely or endure endless torment? The paranoia of the witch hunts in the 16th and 17th centuries brought the application of torture to its most feverish and horrific peak. Tens of thousands, predominantly women, were subjected to the most grotesque methods imaginable, all in the desperate, often deluded pursuit of exposing alleged pacts with the devil. The chilling irony was that the more innocent they were, the less they had to confess, and thus the more relentlessly they were tortured, a vicious cycle with no escape. Yet even as the screams echoed through countless dungeons, a powerful new intellectual current was beginning to ripple across Europe: the Enlightenment. Thinkers like Cesare Beccaria, with his groundbreaking work on crimes and punishments, and Voltaire, through his scathing critiques, began to question the very foundations of these brutal practices. They argued with increasing force that torture was not only profoundly inhumane, but also utterly illogical and counterproductive. False confessions were rampant, they pointed out, and true justice, they contended, could never be built on a foundation of agony. But with centuries of tradition and fear entrenched, would reason alone be enough to dismantle a system so deeply woven into the fabric of law and society? The late 18th and early 19th centuries marked a truly pivotal moment in human history. Fueled by the persistent arguments of Enlightenment ideals and a growing public awareness of its sheer barbarity, countries began, one by one, to abolish judicial torture. Denmark led the way in 1770, a groundbreaking move. Prussia followed soon after, and then other European states gradually joined. It was a slow, arduous process, met with significant resistance from those who clung to old ways, fearing that order would crumble without the truth extracted through pain. This wasn't just a legal amendment. It was a profound, almost revolutionary shift in how societies viewed human dignity. The purpose of law and the administration of justice, the very idea that a state could inflict unlimited, excruciating pain on its citizens for information or confession, began to crumble under the weight of moral outrage and intellectual scrutiny. But was this truly the definitive end of torture in human affairs, or merely a transformation into something more insidious, operating under new guises and in the chilling shadows of state power? While judicial torture largely disappeared from Western legal systems by the mid-19th century, the 20th century shockingly bore witness to its horrific resurgence in new, profoundly disturbing contexts. Totalitarian regimes, secret police forces, and conflicts across the globe brought back methods reminiscent of the darkest ages, often veiled under euphemisms like enhanced interrogation techniques or coercive questioning. The Spanish Civil War, the Nazi regime, Stalin's purges, and countless dictatorships around the world revived and even innovated upon ancient cruelties. The sheer scale of atrocities committed during World War II and the subsequent Cold War era spurred the international community to act decisively. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948 explicitly and unequivocally condemned torture as a crime against humanity. Subsequent international conventions, like the UN Convention Against Torture, worked to outlaw it globally and establish mechanisms for accountability. The fight, however, remains far from over. Even today, despite international law, credible allegations of torture and inhumane treatment persist in various parts of the world. Often in the context of counterterrorism operations or political suppression. What does it truly say about our collective humanity that this ancient barbaric evil still casts such a dark and persistent shadow on the modern world, haunting the very ideals of justice and compassion we claim to uphold? The history of torture is more than just a grim catalog of devices and pain. It's a profound, often uncomfortable chronicle of human ingenuity, twisted for malevolent ends. Serves as a stark and chilling reminder of the dangers of unchecked power, the seductive pull of fear, and the deeply flawed belief that pain can somehow unlock genuine truth. From the lashings of ancient empires, to the medieval racks, and even to modern-day black sites, the story of torture is an enduring testament to humanity's darkest impulses and its capacity for cruelty. But crucially, it's also a story of resilience, of countless individuals who defied their tormentors, and of the slow, painful, yet undeniable progress towards a world where the inherent dignity and inviolable rights of every human being are finally recognized. We've certainly come a long way from the days when torture was a legal norm, but the vigilance against such inhumane treatment of our fellow man must remain constant. The lessons of history demand it. What part of this chilling and difficult history surprised or impacted you the most? Share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. If you found this historical deep dive both informative and thought-provoking, please take a moment to like this video. Share it with others who might be interested. And subscribe to our channel for more journeys into the complex and often challenging tapestry of the past.